So we're going to start off making some sections here to go on the ends and in the middle to kind of support the whole structure. Just real simple, some 4x4s cut to length and the metal cut to length as well. We are using some metal left over from the shed project I had. I tore down my old shed and built a new one. If you want to see that video, check up here in the right corner. And then we will basically make 4 of these. We'll get a little time lapse going to that. So these are normally about 38 inches wide. My mom is short, so we're cutting them down to about 30 inches so she doesn't have to, so she can isn't up to like her middle of her chest or her belly here, so she can kind of lean over and weed pretty easily. So we'll get going on that now. We're just gonna go ahead and cut some 4x4s to length, and then we're gonna rip some more metal down to the correct width, and we'll assemble these 4 sections, and then we'll do some assembly on the outside. We're going to start here by cutting some 4x4s to 30 inches long so we can make 3 more of these. And again, if your metal is wider, you're going to adjust your dimensions based on that, and that way you have the same width or same length of 4x4 as the width of your metal. Okay, so right now we're just using the bottom piece that my dad had already built as a template basically to set the new ones on top of. And you can see the metal's a little longer here than the actual wood. So we're gonna go ahead and screw them down, then we'll use a skill saw and we'll rip that extra metal off. Again, if you're gonna leave yours alone, you can skip that step if you're gonna have yours taller. But since my mom's so short, we're gonna do that. And she's standing right here, that's why I keep saying it. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and cut the metal up to length with our 4x4 since we're making it shorter. We're just gonna use a skill saw here. My dad's gonna cut it with the skill saw and just flip the blade around backwards. If you have an old blade, I'd suggest that so you're not damaging a nice new blade. It's gonna be really loud, so wear ear protection and also wear safety glasses as well. If you have some neighbors, you might warn them because again, it is a really loud noise when you cut this metal. All right, so we got those 2 cut. We're just gonna continue this on with 2 more of these, and then we will start the construction of the sides. We'll probably move over on the site, or maybe just move the pieces over on site as we build. We don't know what we're gonna do just yet. It's about 100 degrees today, so it's pretty warm, so we're trying to just stay in the shade as much as possible. So I apologize if there's any wind noise here. I'm sure there will be. So we're gonna put down some hail screen on the ground first. So apparently it keeps moles from crawling up underneath the garden and digging into it. So we're gonna do that first, lay it down along here where the lengthwise part of the planter's going, and then we'll basically assemble the whole thing around the hail screen. So just gonna use some galvanized hail screen. And this is just 1/2-inch mesh, and just get that at your local hardware store. And it is galvanized. It should give it some resistance to the dirt, but it's, you know, like anything that you bury under dirt, it's still going to eventually rust away. but hopefully this will keep some protection from the critters for a while anyway. So we went ahead and put a little weed barrier on top of the screen too, just for some extra protection from rodents and some insects, I guess. I think they'll still get in there, but you know, it's a garden, so it's gonna happen. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and sit these end pieces up on each end, and we'll put our side pieces on, like so, down the side. And then we'll put our supports in the middle. Those will set inside. You'll kind of see as we're going here what we're doing. And like I said, this is just some leftover metal that my dad had. We had left over from the shed build. And this is some copper color, and this is brown. So not the same color, but good enough for a garden out here. Not a lot of people are gonna see it. And actually, they don't really look too bad together anyway, so. So we just had some leftover, this is kind of drip edge trim that goes on a metal roof. I had it when I had my old shed. It was in my carport forever. So we're utilizing it, trying to be green here and just reuse everything we can. And so it's just going on the corners here to cover up the edges. And it's covering pretty well. You could just use some regular corner trim for sheet metal. You can get at your hardware store if you wanted to. Or you could even do wood if you wanted to, some kind of a wood corner. We're just trying to make it as maintenance free as possible here. There's a little bit of stuff that's gonna rot or need painted or stained every few years. So this should hopefully have a good long finish. So also after we get these four corners trimmed up, we're gonna use treated 2x6 to cap the top edge around. So when my mom's leaning over the side there weeding, she's not getting that, you know, that sharp metal up against her belly and chest area. And it'll just give it a nice finish look too. So we'll do that after we get the corners up, and after that it'll just be kind of filling it up with some filler and then some dirt on top of that. So on these end pieces that are hollow, we don't have anything to screw the top 2x6 into that goes along the outside perimeter. And so what we're doing basically is just taking some blocks we've cut and we're putting them down here below the surface and screwing them into the side of the 4x4. And we're leaving those low enough where we can put a top 2x4 on top of that that's gonna run across here. It'll be like that, but it'll be longer. And then we will have the actual 2x6 on top of that. So that'll give us a good structure to screw to and make it nice and solid. All right, so we got our blocks in here and we need the support for the bottom of the 2x6. So we're just going to put the wood across basically on top of the blocks. Okay, now we're just gonna cap it with a 2x6. You see this board's got a little bit of a bow in it upwards. So we're gonna put the bow up. Okay, here it is, pretty much complete. You can see we got a couple different colors going here, the copper and the brown. The top rail's on all the way around. And what will come next will be basically putting some filler in here, not dirt, some kind of filler to fill up the majority of this void, so that we're not filling the whole thing with dirt. That would be a ton, not literally, it'd be way more than a ton, but a lot of dirt. And you can see we'll have a board along the bottom too when we're done here that'll kind of finish all this off so that it kind of holds that hail screen in place. And it's just perfect height for my mom. It's right at her waist basically, so she can kind of just lean over and pull weeds and plant stuff. And so next thing will be just getting this thing filled in. All right guys, here you can see it's all done. The bottom's just been filled with some old firewood and just basically some old limbs and stuff like that, just to kind of take up space. And then there's topsoil and compost on top. You can see my mom's already got some tomato plants in here. Just they've been growing pretty good already, and it's easy to weed because it's you know, it's waist high, so you can just reach right in here and pull your weeds. Plenty of room too. And it actually looks pretty good too with the two different colors of metal. Like I said, this was some scrap metal. This was some metal we had left over from the new shed I built, and then this was the old shed roof. So it didn't have any waste here, which was nice. And then other than that, just some treated lumber, and that's pretty much it. So I hope this gives somebody some ideas for an above ground planter or garden. But if you guys like the video, I would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. And thanks for watching guys, appreciate it.